Colonial Williamsburg. Colonial Williamsburg is a must-visit destination for history lovers, families, and tourists. I would love to hear about your experiences here in the comments, so keep that in mind as I go through and tell you about Colonial Williamsburg. It's one of the largest living history museums in the world. It is a significant site in U.S. history, focusing on its role in colonial America. Williamsburg became the capital of colonial Virginia in 1699. Restoration efforts started in the 1920s by John D. Rockefeller, making it a historical tourism destination today that we definitely still love. Some of the key attractions is right now we're looking at the Capitol building. Trials and arguments happen there. We'll get into that momentarily. What is wonderful about colonial tradespeople, they demonstrate their crafts. We're in the doctor's office right now, or what was a doctor's office, the apothecary, who could help with tonics and different things to help whatever ailed you. Different tradespeople, they demonstrate their crafts, and the artisans bring history to life.
From that point in time until something better or safer comes along.
That you understand what it does to the extent that you understand it.
So in the 18th century, yeah, I did use lead. We used it as a dressing on wounds. Well, lead turns out to be naturally antiseptic and anti-inflammatory.
Antifungal as well.
But there are no antibiotics at this point in time. So what are your choices?
Right.
So you used it because you had to.
The history of our earliest doctors, the apothecaries. They were mainly trained in England and would come over. There would be several in a town the size of Williamsburg here, as we can see by the street signs. And of course they were in competition, but you'd walk into the store and they would ask you what ails you. You would tell them a toothache, you would tell them a bellyache, you would tell them whatever aches and pains you had, and they would do their best with the medicines of the day to help you. Of course, there were no anesthetics. They would use lime and lead and chalk and even sugar on wounds, different things to heal you. All across Williamsburg, you're going to see gorgeous gardens, still maintained today in the style and combination that you would see back in the 17th century. I love looking around at the signs. The King Arms Tavern. We're going to go in here and have a meal, shall we? And we're in the King's Arm Tavern in Williamsburg, February. And we're taking a look at the menu at the colonial dishes made today just like they were before. So you have the Cornish hen, you have all kind of beautiful, beautiful eats, and they're all good. They look a little exotic from what we have today, but trust me, the flavors are very much the same, low in seasoning, low in spice. Lots and lots of fresh herbs and beans from the garden. What they don't grow here in Williamsburg, they actually get from local farmers. So the restaurants here in Williamsburg do get all of the freshest ingredients every other day from the farmer, I'm told. I just love looking at these old buildings, the old bricks, and now we'll let you hear what it sounds like inside. The small rooms echoing with all of the talk. colonial tradespeople demonstrate their crafts. These artisans really bring history to life for visitors. I love this place. I know you will too. It's amazing, amazing education in just a couple of days. The buildings and the architecture all recreated to give you that true 17th and 18th century feel. The restoration again happened in the 1920s with John D. Rockefeller starting it. You've got your white picket fences, you've got your windows, you've got beautiful old trees. This place is lovely to just walk around and enjoy the looks. And now, my friends, the Governor's Palace. The Governor's Palace offers guided tours throughout the grounds and the building. They are different times, different days. Look for the flags. You'll know which ones are open and which ones are not. The tours are offered for the building, the cellars, the kitchens. Different talks and performers are held behind the gardens. Do get a calendar that'll show you the days of the week and which buildings, which acts, what interpretations are offered each day. The Governor's Palace is a must-see. If you only have a little bit of time, these grounds are definitely worth taking a look at. Bunny rabbit. And we are in the Governor's Palace Gardens, looking at the back of the building. We're walking through the gardens to reach the stage where we will enjoy a performance. So very much looking forward to that. And I just love, love, love these old red bricks. Enjoy.
Tobacco is our money, why a great many enterprises were not successful. If anything, my brother and I were simply guilty of being overly generous in extending credit towards our neighbors, who otherwise must have starved. But then to further complicate matters for me in my early years, and yes, I married rather young by most Virginia standards. I was but 18. My dear
Batter, almost like you might do for fish and chips, and then they're fried. The cheese on toast is exactly as the name suggests. Sippets, which are pieces of bread fried flat. There's a scallopini underneath that, which is almost like a really heavily sauced mushroom and country ham, a little gravy there. And then topped with a 3-cheese souffle and baked off in the oven. The eggs up above are eggs a la bechamel, hard-boiled eggs in a cream sauce. Bechamel being one of the French butter sauces that all other French cream sauces are devolved from. And then last but certainly not least is the lemon pound cake. I can start peeling some eggs that I've already hard-boiled this morning.
What's that man doing with the pig's head?
He's gonna roast it.
Like how?
We don't eat, we don't waste, I should say, anything in the 18th century. Have we ever heard of eating high on the hog?
That's referring to the head. The cheek meat in the 18th century, and for a lot of folks who still eat the head meat, eyes, the cheek, the snout, the ears, every part of it could be consumed. Now, what you choose to eat off of it, if you choose to eat any of it at all, is entirely up to you. We don't make you eat things that you don't like in this household. So if you don't want to eat it, you just say no thank you and you take some extra of something that you want to have instead. But if you are someone that loves the cheek meat, then it's there for you.
Do you put it on a pan and then put it?
No, it's going in the spit.
Oh, well,
To do
there
a
you
proper
go.
roast, you
Okay.
gotta turn it in front of the fire on a
Gotcha.
spit. So they are, changes the temperature. And we'll never know exactly what the temperature in the fire is on any given day. So without that temperature, there's no need for a time, but we will know what visually the pig's head is telling us as it roasts. And the sort of cues that the head gives you is a much better indicator about how it's doing and how much longer it needs. So
Typically salt. Sometimes drying, what you would think of as beef jerky, is not really done by the English, but done by natives here in California, more so. In fact, that process of drying strips of meat on big wooden racks well above a fire was dubbed by the Spanish as barbacoa. That's where the word barbecue comes from. And so they saw that natives in the Caribbean doing that process and copied it and came up with a name for it. And that's sort of what happens as we get to barbecue later. Normally, if we, and all the stuff that's on those pieces of meat in there stay on those pieces of meat in there when you do that process. And it all steams in that package and has a wonderful flavor that goes deep at the most. And that's going to be sitting in the brine that it's cured in. You're going to need to drop that bottom one. You're going to need to drop that considerably.
Why am I sitting on that? What?
keep sliding it forward. Probably hasn't come off in a long time.
Sleeping upstairs in the outhouse, outside house, not the main house.
That's true, yeah.
Not to be seen.
Uh-huh. It's kind of like a magical happen. Yeah.
I find the brick in the old fences fascinating. And you'll also see the cannons protecting themselves, the British colony, from the French, from the Indians, from any threat that comes up. And you'll see these fences now in old country towns as well, but these are true to style of what the grounds looked like back in the 17th century. Just love this. A lot of these homes in here are actually privately owned. They have to stay up to the colonial style to be here, but not all of them are owned by Colonial Williamsburg and the Fife and Drums.
But if you look, there's an area.
Stunning architecture. When visiting, dress for the weather, wear tennis shoes, you will be walking a lot. Consider a multi-day or annual pass. Colonial Williamsburg is one of the largest living history museums in the world, so you definitely want to explore at your own pace. Any building with a flag means that it is open. And Colonial Williamsburg is an outdoor town, so you will go inside and outside of several different buildings. Several of them are wheelchair accessible, oftentimes by the back. Colonial Williamsburg also, thank goodness, has a bus included in the cost of your ticket. So you can actually travel around to, I believe it's about 7 different stops in the Colonial Williamsburg area. So if you just want to jump here and there on any given day, you don't have to worry about walking the mile-long Gloucester Street. Also, participating in activities will make your visit more exhilarating and more memorable. I just love these old signs, and again, they are true to what they were before. And anytime you see anyone in costume, ask questions. It actually makes your trip that much grander when you can have a first-hand experience one-on-one with the reenactors in the street. And no matter what time of year it is, make sure you hydrate. And Colonial Williamsburg is great for the entire family. And historical interpreters stay in character. They'll only come out of character announcing it if you ask them something that they have to refer to paperwork or to their phone for. They also demonstrate militia drills, have political debates. They have almost impromptu, I would say, conversations in the street that you can join in and listen to, as well as different music venues. They do have several different restaurants. They do have times that they are open. And maybe one is open one day, the other is open the next day. So make sure you eat at colonial restaurants. Chowning's Tavern is wonderful. The taverns, they just really enhance the visit. So make sure you have some of the colonial era food. You'll be entertained by how they wear the napkins, why they wear the napkins, how women how young they were when they got married, and just different experiences they like to share when you're sitting at a table and learning about the menu or waiting to eat. This place is wonderful. I just can't say enough about the architecture. Here is a building recently opened up. They actually had 24 slaves housed there, and they're now doing tours of what life was like, no matter what standing you were in the community. So it's very, very exciting to partake in these different offered tours. And again, a great many of them are free. The evening tours, the haunted ghost tour, etc. There is a fee for, but I would highly recommend it. During the day in the courthouse in the middle of town on Gloucester Street, there is a free court hearing. Highly recommend that. If you do go to the court hearing or the Cry Witch in the Capitol building, there is a fee for that, but we've gone twice now over the last 10 years, and we will definitely do it again. It is quite an experience that you can partake in, you can vote on. It's very educational, very fun. Do read the signs of all of the buildings. Whether they're open or not, they have little placards on all of the buildings that is going to let you understand what these buildings were historically and give you a good feel for what the town had to offer. And I just love these basement doors and the locks. And again, any tour you can take it. Any flag out there on the street, go in, talk to the shopkeep. You will learn a lot. It's amazing. And if you can visit between Thanksgiving and Christmas time, you will be pleasantly surprised with all of the wreaths all over the doors. See my previous Williamsburg video for all of the wreaths, decorating ideas on the wreaths, and that they do everything natural, everything that they can make there. The Liberty Lounge is great if you or a member of your family that is with you today is part of the military or retired military, once served in the military. The Liberty Lounge is a nice place to just go and chat. They like to reminisce about where you were at in the world, what you were doing in the world, and have a cup of tea or coffee or hot cocoa with them. Jewelry done in the Beft manner. Go on inside, my friends. Ask them what that means. Have a great conversation. The unicorn's horn. If the flag is out, go on in, take a look, and enjoy. A saddler shop, a Scrivener store, check the times on your calendar or walk on by the fence, find out the times where you can see George Washington here on stage. He is tremendous, a must-see. I really, really loved seeing him. For lunch, walk on in. For dinner, you need reservations. But Campbell's Tavern is another lovely place to have a meal, stay in period thoughts and hear the different entertainment and enjoy the dishes of the 17th and 18th century. This was amazing, by the way. And the chicken scrumptious. This dish was just potato gnocchi or something. It was amazing. And Williamsburg. Welcome to Williamsburg and Jamestown. Take advantage of Yorktown, Jamestown, and Williamsburg while you're here. When we stayed in the hotel, they gave us directions to all of the different parks. And this is our Capitol building.
Percentage of the population that can afford that, or we can seek it out. Most local shops, while they could do it if they were asked to, are really not. So that's part of the sign bracket. So you will see some more visual flair added to areas where you want to catch people's eye.
So what item was most often requested?
It's a moving target, it's somewhat seasonal, but talking about agricultural equipment, things like tobacco hose, vehicle hardware, those categories of things are probably most common just because that constant maintenance is needed, but also there are forms that are very uniquely Virginian. So something like a tobacco hoe really isn't developed in England because they don't to modify their patterns to suit them, and eventually that occurs, but the back and forth is so slow that most of the real change happens on the local level. So, developing broader blades, heavier, longer, very robust eyes that rest right on the shoulder of the blade rather than having a little bit of neck in between. Yeah, those are all things that are unique to this area.
Yeah, we saw on an English.
Historically, you could buy a bellows complete from a bellows manufacturer, but you could also source all the component parts and trade.
Extra hands. So wives, daughters, sisters, you learn the trade out of necessity. But there's also female-dominated trades, fashion, needlework. You can own businesses like taverns, boarding houses, places like that. So women are a part of the economy. But here on this site, we are a little overrepresented. Here, this is part of the public armory. So the entire site that you stepped onto, with us, the blacksmiths next door, some woodworkers who would have been here on the site as well. As part of the public armory, we're underneath the Virginia government contract. So the 40 workers that are here, there are no women doing the work. So I'm only here because it's a model museum.
Okay, all right.
But as part of the public armory and underneath the Virginia government contract, this shop isn't actually for any civilian use. This is solely for Virginia troops during the Revolutionary War. So soldiers, sailors, and their officers. So this is what all this stuff here on the table and bench are for. Military.
What you find in almost every courthouse and church in Eastern North America. But some people are also using them as account books for the larger businesses. But that book would have about 300 hours.
Wow.
Interest, but you can come by here and simply sign up for the book or obligate yourself.
Afternoon, Brent. Beg your pardon?
Well, you're sewing each section. I'm going to take this, and I would take it and bump it up against the cords and align it with the sections under it. And then, depending on where I ended the last section, because that's where I started the next one, I push the needle through in line with this row of knots.
Okay, into the center where your
Right,
hand of the
right
needle.
into the center. So the stitch is going to hide in the center of the fold. You guys have a great.
Well, that's neat seeing how that's done.
Yeah, it's extremely strong in the way it's constructed. I mean, the weakness in the book is not like it is in a modern book, and that being the paper.
I know, because now when you want to open the book fully, some of them will crack.
Yeah, and the paper itself is cheap. It's made out of wood pulp. It's very acidic. It tends to deteriorate in a relatively short period of time. You don't think you get many books in the last 100 years.
Right. And
This paper, on the other hand, is good for 6,000 to 8,000 years. I mean,
and what's it made of? Yes, and also we have summer house,
Sharing the family style, and we offer sample layers of everything. The only thing we don't offer are to-go boxes.
Okay.
And did we have your dietaries?
No, these are,
So we're gonna start you off with our house style flavors, and then we're gonna come on about a green, off with walnut.
it's the same thing.
Smoked barbecue cheddar cheese, and pickled red onions.
And then I also try to hold the steaks walnuts on the side.
Hold the walnuts on the side.
I know.
Why, thank you very much. Very kind of you. It's the humble penny whistle. Right? Came in different sizes, very simple, 6-hole flute. So along with the recorder and
Be careful with the plate.
I had one of this last year.
Does that really have olives in it?
Would you like to take these plates?
No trip is complete without going to Merchant Square. Merchant Square is the little villages outside of the interpreters area, outside of the Gloucester Street, and they have wonderful candy shops, tea shops, coffee shops. Merchant Square is a great place to come, chill out, put your feet up, meet with the locals. The locals shop here as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Until next time, my friends, happy travels. Have a great day.